Good morning or good afternoon. This is Chris Panini from GSA's Office of Government Policy. This is the second of our training sessions demos for the data submission module for the Federal Property Profile System. Our developers from Vencor will walk you through both a demo of the system as well as some accompanying PowerPoint slides showing the functionality within the system. We are recording this session for use by other people at a later date and time. We're going to break the training into about 30-minute recordings. So we will need to take roughly a 30-minute break to end one recording and start the second one for the next 30-minute period. So please bear with us there. Logistical items. If you are not asking a question, we'd ask you to please mute your phones to minimize the background noise for others on the call. Secondarily, we've had issues when we were doing our data dictionary training calls. Please do not put your phone on hold. What the system does is it plays music for the enjoyment of everybody else on the call. So if for some reason you need to leave the call, don't put the phone on hold or put the call on hold. Just drop off. You can always rejoin the session once you finish your business. Are there any logistical questions or questions for me before we turn it over to our developers? All right, thank you. I appreciate your participation.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second session for the FRPP Salesforce Data Submission Demonstration. We're going to step through the system as well as show you some other charts and features for the new system. And if at any point you have questions, just let us know. We'll stop and answer questions along the way. What you'll see now on your screen is the agenda for this afternoon. And then we can, of course, discuss questions at any point, or you can hold your questions if they're not related to the agenda items, and we can discuss them at the end of the presentation. Okay. This is how the Release 1.0 login page will look when you have access to the FRPP system. And that's just a screen, and we'll show you that when we go walk through the system. This is showing you the security matrix, the access roles, and the description of what users are able to do with each access role. Some of these are familiar, and then some of these are new ones. For example, the Bureau data submission one is a little different, but you'll be able to have the same experience with your roles and privileges. I'll log into the system now so that you can see some of the administrative functions. If you are a system or an agency administrator, you'll have access to administration functions. So I'll step through the system now. Okay. This home page may look familiar. It has a lot of the same features as the FRPP legacy system. Along the left-hand side, you'll be able to see various broadcast messages, the FRPP contact information, and the documents library that is something, same thing we had in the legacy. Can someone put their phone on mute? We're getting some feedback. Thank you. So if you are an agency administrator, you'll have this administration tab. Once you select that tab, you'll be able to see the functions that an administrative user can have, and that would be selecting your agency. You can look for your users by their login name, by their first or last name. You can check on active and inactive users, and you can just see what users you have.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that the difference between the legacy and the Salesforce is that here in Salesforce you will be able to search for the user by first name or agency similar to legacy, but the only thing is that you will not be able to edit a user's profile or provide access to him or reset his password as of phase 1 release.
Okay, thank you, Vanilla. What you should see on your screen now is the data submission workflow. This data submission workflow will show users who submit data using the XML files, how the data flows through the system, and where they can expect different notifications and emails.
Right. Let's go through the data submission process. The first step here is attaching the files. The attach process is similar to staging in legacy application. The only difference is that in legacy, we used to provide a XML schema file, the XSD file on the home page, allowing the agency users to validate their files before they stage them on the system. Whereas in Salesforce, we have integrated that XSD into the application so that it does the validation when you stage the file. We still have it on the home page where you can use the XSD file to validate your files before you attach them, but the Salesforce does that for you when you try it, even if you do not do it. The difference is that in legacy, the XSD that we had in legacy is not very restricted. Basically, it used to validate only for the tags to make sure that just the tags are right, whereas in Salesforce, we have more restricted validations on the data that is provided in the tags as well, to make sure that there is no issue in the file later in the process of validation. And once the file is, once the attached file is valid, the staging process will be completed, and it automatically kicks in the validation process, whereas in legacy, you used to have to manually go to the validation screen, select the file, and click on validate button. Whereas in Salesforce, if the file is valid, validation process automatically starts, and then it validates the data and provides the reports based on the and provides the error reports like the validation summary report, data correction report, and the detailed error report. And you can use one of those reports. You can use either the data correction report or the detailed error report to correct the data, and system automatically revalidates the file once as it is saved. You do not have to manually go back to the validation screen and revalidate the file again. And if the file is valid, system will allow you to upload the file, and it will provide a upload summary report. And once the files are uploaded, you can go to the confirmation screen, view all the reports related to the confirmation, and then confirm the data. And in all of these, during each of these steps, an email will be sent with the status of the file. Say for example, if the staging fails, it automatically stops at the staging process. It sends an email with the list of errors that need to be fixed before reattaching the file. And similarly, during validation, it sends an email, success or invalid file email if the validation, after the validation process has been completed.
There's a question, Deborah Brown, you have a question? Okay. Are there any questions about the data submission workflow? Okay.
And then this is an XML schema for 2014 with a couple of changes made for Salesforce. The changes from legacy are that agency code and action attributes are added at the file level instead of at the asset level. Agency specifying action as add at the file level implies that all the assets that are submitted in that file will be considered as new assets. So even if there is an existing asset, even if the asset has already been uploaded, even though it is in the system, it will not pick up any data from the existing record. Whatever is provided in the file with action attribute add, it will consider them as new assets, and it will not read any data from the existing record. And specifying agency code in the parent tag implies that all the data in that particular file belongs to that particular agency code. If in case the agency code specified at the file level does not match with the reporting agency at the asset level, system will not read the record, will not read the asset. So it will not be considered as an asset for that particular agency, and it will not read it. So we also have action attributes modify and delete. Action modify implies that if you are missing any of the data in the file that is provided, if the asset already exists, it will get the data, it will read the data from the existing asset. And if you are specifying action as delete, that means the system will be deleting the asset from the system, from your inventory. So we advise you to use modify if you are cleaning your inventory and if you are providing a fresh set of data, then the action attribute will always be add. And if you think you might already have that asset in the system, then the action attribute should be modified. The change is that action attribute should not be specified at the asset level anymore. So you cannot have action as add for one asset and an action as modify for another asset. All the assets specified in the file can either have action add, modify, or delete at the file level only.
Thank you, Anil. Is there a question about the data submission XML template change?
Yes, this is John Rager. I have a question.
Okay, John.
Sure.
Does one of the validation techniques that you mentioned for this new system detect whether or not an asset is already in the system if you're using add, and will it let you know, or will it just overwrite, or will it create a duplicate asset? Thank you.
It will overwrite. It will consider it as a new asset and it will overwrite. So if you think that you already have the asset in the system, we would recommend you to use action as modify. So if you use modify, it will just overwrite it, but it will still keep the missing data that you have. It will still get the missing data from the existing asset.
Any other questions? We'll go to the Data Submission tab now, and we'll show you how to attach a file and process a file through the data submission process. To attach a file, you'll go to the Attach File section and select the button Attach File. It'll bring you to this screen where you'll follow the steps 1, 2, and 3. You choose the file, and it'll take you to the directory where you can select the file that you would like to process. So I'm selecting the file, and I select the Open button. And while I'm there, I'll go ahead and attach a second file so you can see how you can attach more than one file. So that's the first file. I'll choose the second file. I'll attach the second file. And after I've attached all of the files I need to use, I'll select number 3 and the Done button.
So the attached file is the staging process in Legacy. So it has attached the file, and it has also started the validation process, and it has validated the FRPP valid building file and interior test land building structure files. So those two files it has validated, and it is showing the validation summary and the error reports for those files. The first file is valid, so it directly shows the upload button. You can view the validation summary report by clicking on the validation summary report, and once you validate your data, you can click on the upload button and upload the file. Whereas the second file has some errors, so you can, Gwen, can you please click on the validation summary report for the second file?
Sure.
So this is the validation summary report. Similar to Legacy, it shows the total number of assets validated and all the numeric fields like acreage, square footage, and replacement value, and all other related data. It also shows the total number of disposed assets, but the only difference is that it does not show the errors at the element level. You can see that from the detailed error report and also the data correction report. Can you please go back to the data submission page? So here for the second file, can you please click on the detailed error report? Detailed error report shows errors at the element level. So basically there are 2 errors in that asset. It's a land asset, and there are 2 errors related to that land asset. One is the lease annual operating and maintenance cost and the lease authority indicator. So even if it is one single asset, since it shows errors at the element level, it shows it as 2 separate records here. You can make changes to the asset by clicking on the asset ID field. It will take you to the edit asset page where you can update the asset and save it. So once it is saved, it will automatically remove it from the screen, and once all the errors are fixed, it will revalidate the file based on the changes. And can you go back to the data correction report, please? Data correction. Data correction report gives you the same errors, shows the same errors, except that it is at the asset level instead of at the element level. So basically, even though there are 2 errors in that particular asset, it just shows, since it's one single asset, it shows it at the asset level. It shows 1 record. So here also you can click on the asset ID and make changes. Can you please click on that? So you can click on the edit button. This is the view page of the asset, and you can click on the edit button and update the record. So since we have errors for lease authority indicator
Do I want to install it?
and lease operating and maintenance cost. Towards the right.
Oh.
Yeah. Once you click on save, system revalidates the asset, and if there are no errors, it will save the asset. And can you please go back to the data submission? Click on the data submission. Yeah. So if we come back here, since the two errors are fixed, it shows the file as valid, and it automatically updates the validation summary report. And you can click on the upload button to upload the file. While we are here, can you please go to the search screen to show the staging assets?
Asset search.
Yeah, asset search. So since there are two files in staging, we can select the report type as asset staging report and perform a search. So if the file is valid, it will not display the detailed error report or the data correction report. But if you have any changes to the staging data before you upload, if you would like to make any changes to the staged assets, you can perform a search for those assets from the asset search screen and make changes. I think we are having some issue with the internet. Can you please select again test underscore in real property unique identifier or INT underscore? Yeah. Put in INT in this INT underscore and then perform a search again just to refresh.
John, do you have a question?
Yeah, I figured while we're waiting for this, I'd ask a quick question. You mentioned this is phase one. How many releases in all will there be, and when will it be complete? And another follow-on is, how do we report any errors or bugs with the system? Thank you.
I'm coming back up to the microphone. There'll be two main phases. Phase 2 is to be released in August. So that will be our major release. If you're familiar with the legacy application, we had a major release usually in October. We've escalated it to be August this year. There will be some minor releases to incorporate some functionality that doesn't come into play until near the end of the submission period. And that follows along with a minor release that we did in December of each year. And then I'm going to let Vencor respond to the process unless you're covering it at the end in terms of feedback or bugs.
I think we do.
We do. John, at the end of the presentation, we'll show you how to get technical support. It's the same as what you used for the legacy system. It has not changed. And so we'll show you that information toward the end. And it's also on the home page as well. Any other questions? Okay.
So the search has returned results, and these are the assets that were staged using interior land building structure file. So if you scroll down towards the end of the result set, you'll see that the asset record type shows as staging. That means that the record has not yet been uploaded. So once you upload the file, the record type, asset record type will show as uploaded. So you can click on the asset you can click on the FRPP asset ID and make changes before you upload the file. You can continue.
Any questions?
Okay, go back to the data submission.
We'll go back to the data submission tab now.
Actually, we're almost at our 30-minute mark before you start a new section. Give us about 30 seconds to a minute so that we can end this 30-minute recording and start the next one.